I wanted to become not a monk, a Capuchin, yeah. And I was in this time, I considered myself as gay. His answer was to be blind and to be gay, that's too much for us. So that's why I thought it was the combination.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Priceless Podcast. This podcast is made in partnership with the European Forum of LGBT Christian Groups. If you want to support this podcast, you can find ways how to do it in the podcast's description. So with me today is Lothar Linsen. He's from Germany, from Berlin. Welcome, Lothar, to the Priceless Podcast.
Hi.
How?
Lothar, male, he, him. I'm gay till this moment. Who will I be tomorrow or next moment? I don't know. I wanted to become not a monk, a Capuchin, yeah. And I was in this time, I considered myself as gay. But I didn't talk so much about that because it was 25 years ago. I asked them to become to come in the order, and so then they had a little problem. Okay, you are blind. Can you live on your own? Once our magister, or how it calls, asked us all in similar talks why I want to become a Capuchin monk. Okay, I told him about my story, about how I grew up as an almost blind person. And in this story, of course, I told also my story about my homosexuality. And his answer was to be blind and to be gay, that's too much for us. So that's why I thought it was the combination. And this time it was very sad. I chose not to live with them. The reason why I wanted to become a Capuchin or a Franciscan monk, or how you want it, many of these reasons are still alive. I mean, I think we are beings who want to be together in once, but want to live a spiritual life. So all these things, they are alive in my soul today. I already had the decision to say, okay, goodbye. I was in my bed at night and I was sad about all what was happened. And then, I don't know how, started to pray. And then I touched my body and I thought, hey, all is good. So I made as I am in this way. I made so how I am, I'm wanted. Sometimes I think I judge myself so much, or it's so common in our cultures to judge ourselves. So, yeah. But to understand really all is good, even these things which we are struggling with, or we are made, and I am made, and this is good. In this time it was very sad, but now it's a treasure. It's a really treasure to understand all is good. I grew up in former GDR, so in East Germany, and I was born in a village in the northeast, so near of the Polish border, in the Uckermark. It's lovely landscape. My mother, she worked in a school, she was a teacher, and she was secretary of the party. I grew up in this village and I had to go to the boarding school for blind people, and this was near Berlin. So only in the holidays I could be at home, and in my younger years, very hard. I didn't want to go. It was always with tears and to leave home and to go by train to this school. And it was like we called it jail, this boarding school. And then I lost my mother very early, when I was 8. I had a lot of lost in my youth than I'm thinking now. And these to lose a lot, maybe this is one thing what formed me. Maybe in this boarding school I understood that I'm gay, and this was a very strange understanding. So we didn't know really what it is gay, to be gay or schwul. I remember we had a history teacher. It was an old man, 60-something years, and he was a Christian too. But he didn't talk about so much in school, but he was a very, very good teacher. And once he heard what we joked about gay people, he said, "Stop." And then, "Let me tell you what's about gay people." And he told us, so this is people who love the same sex, people, and nothing is wrong with that. It was in DDR time, it was not usual. He explained what it is. With my mother lived together my grandma and my great-grandma. We 4 lived together in a 2-room apartment, so it's quite cozy. My great-grandma, she was after the 80th in this time already. And she told me about the Bible stories, Moses, and she was a really grandma. She told stories. And so she grew my faith. She said, "Okay, don't tell nobody about that, because never." So it was in myself. But in the boarding school, we had one girl from Iraq, and she lived with parents in Germany who were pastors. So we all knew that she was a Christian. So, but okay, we talked, and of course I told her about my great-grandma and about how she taught me to pray. And then we started in the boarding school hidden services. So we, like children do it, so we did secret services, prayed together like kids. I don't know, somehow I considered myself as gay. It was because I wanted to have a friend always, not a girlfriend. I didn't dream about girlfriends. But then I could integrate it very well in my faith. So my faith didn't depend on church. This church didn't judge it. So it wasn't a problem. It became only then a problem when I really started to go to church. So the problem was not in me, but surrounding me. So I wanted to have a community. But the community I got was homophobic. In the beginning, I had no problem with that, but then later, why I had to deal then so long with these problems, I don't know. Of course, I have found my way, my standing, my place, but whatever. This is my anger to the church, because you come like a young boy and wanted to find a good way to live, and this church destroyed a lot of things. The story of Jesus, they tell you, okay, Jesus accepts you how you are, but
but not you.
But not the whole church destroyed me. There's some of them. So some of them I could get baptized when I was 15 or 16. And I had, in this time I could choose my God. Well, I had to choose my godmother. And in this church, in the evangelical church in Königs Wusterhausen, there was an old lady. because I was almost blind, and they introduced her to me or me to her. And so we sit in a service together. So I started to visit her. We had a Saturday friendship. So Saturday after school, I went to her house. And then we sit, she had a chair, and she was knitting things for children, or shawl, or sweaters. And she did her work. We drink coffee, and she told stories. Because she had a lot of stories. And with her, this was not a destroying church. And she was very poor. She get, even for GDR people, very, very less money. But she had such a big heart, and sharing heart, and a no judging heart, and a loving heart. And she didn't anything. We drink coffee and talk, but around her was a space. Around her was a space you could be. And this was the good church.
Yeah.
And this is really, when I talk about this, it's also an understanding what I want, how I want to be. Of course, I'm not her, so I'm Lothar, and Lothar's different. But and how can be church? You can see this eye, and I got a lot of rejections because of this in the LGBT community. So even to date someone or so, it was for me it was difficult. Maybe it's my theory about that. Maybe gay people, even in Western Europe, where it's so open and blah blah, there's so many wounds and people are so hurt. Maybe it's not. Don't see it now, but we reject others who are not like we. And that's why I became an activist, I guess. In Russia, for my time in Russia, I used to live 20-some years in St. Petersburg, and this was a way to get in touch with the LGBT community without seeking for sex.
Yes.
And to have meaningful friendships and meaningful time together.
Yeah.
And in these activist groups, I felt always very good. And also at my work now, I'm working in the Berliner AIDS-Hilfe, Berlin AIDS Help. We are an organization, most employees are gay or lesbian. So, and it's normal, and we hug each other, and we make ugly jokes. This is for me the good side of the LGBT community. So the easier side.
Yes.
My grandma, she was very practical, and it had a good side and sad side. The sad side was, I told it before, the sad side was that she wanted always the good for me, and she was very concerned about my Christianity. But the good side was, the practical side, she said to me always, so when you will please marry woman woman, it's for her. Marry a woman in a wheelchair, because she will say where to go and you will do it.
So you will be the muscles and she will be the eyes.
To live, it's like to fit in the melody around around yourself. So if I can listen to the melodies surrounding me and to find my melody, my part in it, then I live good. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing in 5 years, so but now it's for me important to be such sound.
Thank you so much for taking your time talking to me. I know it was also not easy because you had to talk in English, and the first reaction was, oh shit. So thank you, dear viewers and listeners, for being with us. As I said in the beginning, this podcast was made in partnership with the European Forum of LGBT Christian Groups. Don't forget to check out, I will put the link of the Berliner AIDS Hilfe in the podcast description, and there you can also find a way how to support this podcast. So see you next time. Bye everyone. Bye Lothar.